I suppose as current president, I'm absolutely proud of the society now and where it's going, and we've got a lot of talented people who do a lot of work, but you know, the work has been built over the years. We've got a proud heritage, and that's the satisfying thing.
I first joined the amateurs as a junior at the age of 8. My first show was The Boyfriend. I'd pestered my mum and dad to be able to join for a long time. I got stage fright when I first came down, and it took me a few rehearsals because I cried and had to go home a few times.
And it's your fault I'm here.
It is. It is. But we're here now. We're in.
Oh, I don't know what to say. Oh.
Just film that.
Have you? Don't do that.
My first show was in 1995, The Boyfriend. Took a gap from the society, but the society always makes me feel like home, and it's a big part of my family life and where my roots are.
I joined the society in 1965. At that time I was playing rugby on a Saturday and football on a Sunday. My brother Jack and his wife Pauline, who's society secretary, persuaded me to come down for the Diamond Jubilee production of Patience.
Why did I think that if I say why I joined in the first place, that might put things in perspective, because I was a big fan of Gilbert and Sullivan, and they were doing Gilbert and Sullivan, so that was the thing that got me interested. And when they did Gondoliers, which was the first Gilbert and Sullivan after I joined, I got my first part, and luckily for me I had a part in every show until I finished about 2006, so I've really been quite lucky.
I lived at Dizzington and I worked in a local shop when I was a teenager, delivering bread on a Saturday morning, and that belonged to Claire and Tom Mackenzie, who were big members of the Operatic Society, and they were friendly with two other Operatic Society members, Wilf and Doris Cattell, who also had a shop in the village, and so through that arrangement I came down to the Operatics. They got us introduced, and that's 57 years ago, so that was my introduction, and from the beginning you felt a real buzz then as a youngster. I mean, I was 15 something when I come up.
I was totally hooked after the first rehearsal, so I became a 4-stone wet through heavy dragoon very quickly and thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've been doing it ever since. I went to live in Whitehaven in 1970 and I was a founder member of the Whitehaven Theatre Group, and had 10 turbulent and unhappy years there, and came back to work in 1980, and I've never looked back since. We joined the society again for the 1980 production of Merry Widow, and Phyllis and I got together, and John and Tony came along, and just like Billy at recent rehearsals, been coming down and enjoying rehearsals, John and Tony did exactly the same thing in their little wheelchairs and came and got involved and thoroughly enjoyed the show.
I would just like to say how very proud I am of our society. Myself and my lovely late husband Ken have been members for 60 years. I think I'm one of the few members who played in the old Opera House, and I did 3 shows there: Wedding in Paris, White Horse Inn and Call Me Madam. Times were very different then. Everything's changed. At that time there was no microphones whatsoever, and we had professional producers, I remember one, I think his name was John Dennis, saying, "Darlings, you have to project. Everyone on the back row pays exactly the same amount as the people on the front row. I don't want any upstaging, no backs of heads. The people pay to see your face and hear what you have to say." Everything's changed now. All our main parts have microphones. That's progress. I've had some wonderful parts in the amateurs. Some with my dear friend Alberta, who's been in for 60 years. Also, Marjorie Barnes, who unfortunately died just a few weeks ago. And not forgetting my long-suffering brother-in-law, Norman. We had some very happy times together.
The reason I'm here is because of Jen Walker. It's all her fault. I've danced in the Carnegie since I was about 3-year-old, been there every year of my life that I can remember. But it was only in secondary school that Jen said, "Why don't you come down and do one of the shows?" And that was for Bugsy Malone back in 2000, I think. We'd done a couple of little concerts and things like that, but that was definitely my first show, and then came straight into the Adult Society in the October for Scrooge. That was back in the day when it was a red hut, not a blue hut, and I literally lived round the corner, but didn't even know this place existed until I stepped foot through those doors. And 17 years later, they haven't got rid of me yet.
One of my earliest memories with WAOS was in 1989 when I went to watch my first show at the Carnegie Theatre, sat on the balcony in Bossey with my grandma. I was terrified when she took me backstage to meet the lion, and I remember hiding behind my granddad's legs. One of the highlights was the fact that my granddad got to present me with the Fanwise Cup for playing Miss Dorothy and Thoroughly Modern Millie. Although she wasn't my favourite part to play, everybody knows Penny and Hairspray will always be my favourite, but it's the fact that my granddad, as the president of the society, got to give me that trophy, and I'll always be grateful for that fact.
I first joined WAOS when I was 7, but it was short-lived because my mum and dad thought that I was only interested in going to the shop. So then I joined back a couple of years later with my brother Adam to do Bugsy Malone, and we joined because my uncle knew Ed, and so we decided to come down and haven't really looked back since.
Hi, I'm Andrew the First, and I conquered the WAOS scene way before these two here, but I'll tell you about when I first joined. It was Aladdin, which is still one of the best shows I've done, and I was guard number 1, not even number 2, Matthew Collins. But it was one of the best things I've done. I mean, like Andrew here, my mum forced us to come down. I had my doubts, but honest, it's one of the best things I've done. Yeah.
I'm Andrew the Second, and the first show that I was ever in was an adult production of Sound of Music, and I did meet this guy here at that one. We're on opposite teams, so I think that was pretty bad, to be honest. But anyway, and my favourite memory was in Greece, because it was just really good fun and you laughed really hard in that one, so it was good.
I'm Jack, and my first show was Peter Pan. I met these two guys.
Tell us about it.
Well, it was really good. I didn't really want to come down. Well, my sister came first and she was like, "Jack, come on, be giggle." So I came down. Yeah, it was good fun, great fun, and yeah.
So I joined WAOS because someone at school came up to me, Leah Edmondson, and she said, "Do you want to join amateurs?" Because we'd done a bit of drama in class. And I didn't really know what it was, if I was being honest, so I said yeah. And then 3 months later she goes, "You've been let in, so you've got to come down to this rehearsal." And like before I started amateurs, it might shock a lot of people, but I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was quite a quiet person. And Leah brought me in, and I realised that I could be my proper self here, which was really nice because I was a little bit keeping myself to myself and that in lower school. So now I just won't shut up, so it's probably all your fault that I'm like this, that you brought us here.
My first show was the adult production The Likes of Us, and I was only 8. So.
My first was a concert called the Kids Game? Yeah. And I was 8 as well.
Yeah.
So.
One of my best memories is I don't know. I've liked everything really. I wouldn't.
Same. I wouldn't pinpoint anything.
I couldn't pick something out. But
Neither.
I definitely Limits was one of my highlights. 'Cause that was the first kind of big part that I ever had.
I think Mulan was one of my highlights because that was my first big part as well.
We just haven't achieved 110 years without the people that's gone before us and the steadfast way in how the society has been managed through the years. So we look to the next generation to see us over the next 100 years.
Lastly, Bill Taylor, stage manager. He was from the old school, and in Bill's days we had big flats to move around. And now you've got to be really quiet on stage. And Bill aimed to be quiet, but what Bill didn't hear was himself. And while the front cloths were up, he would say that the set, when the set was done, he would go, right lads, right, shh, 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 right lads, off, clear, go now. God bless Bill, learned a lot from him. And I think I'm going to stop there because I'm getting a bit emotional. And yeah, enjoy your night.
Things that have happened during my tenure, it was been absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't have asked for more. And it's nice to see other young people coming along now and taking over my mantle, and the society can only go from strength to strength, as it has done over the last 50 years during my time as member, and long may it continue. Yeah.
Being part of the amateurs for as long as I have has been special because I feel like it's helped to shape me to be the person that I am today. I've made lots of really good friends from the amateurs. I've got to share lots of experiences with my little brother, and I know my parents have been very proud watching us grow through the years. I've been lucky to have leads in some of the really big shows, the new shows like Beauty and the Beast and most recently Hairspray. And it's just fantastic. There's nothing like stepping out on stage and performing. I don't think there's any way to describe it unless you've done it.
Were you in Hairspray? Is there anything else you want to say?
Just thank you to WAOS for being there, and let's hope it continues with all the fantastic productions and encouraging the youth. I most recently joined the juniors, so I feel like I'm giving back to what I had when I was a junior as well, and long may it continue.
No, just looking forward to many years to come. We're thriving at the moment, so I just hope that continues.
Congratulations, working in Amateur Operatic Society. Good luck. Thank you.
That's spot on, Gwen.
I suppose my best feeling is most recently with playing Tracy in Hairspray, but also taking on artistic director and choreographer all at the same time. Greedy, I know. The walk down was probably the most intense feeling I think I've ever felt, to be part of something where you're all so happy to be there and so like-minded and just we're in awe of the audience and they're in awe of us. It's amazing.
Until I came to WAOS, I didn't have an idea of what I really wanted to do, and now I know that this is what I want to do with my life, and it is really nice to know that I can take this hobby and hopefully turn it into something I love, which is a really nice thought. It's emotional.
So you'll be on Casualty in a few years?
Casualty, see you there. When I'm famous, just gonna all give us a ring and I'll have a party.